Scott, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Certainly.
And the invitation will be offered by Councilman.
Follow me in the pledge to our flag. I
pledge
pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious God, we ask you to watch over us tonight as we do the business of the citizens for the town of Paradise. We ask you to protect all of our public safety personnel, our staff members, the councilmen, and all of our citizens, as well as bring your blessings upon all of our armed forces personnel serving both here and abroad. Amen.
Roll call.
Councilmember Boland.
Here.
Councilmember Cullen.
Here.
Vice Mayor Lunder.
Here.
Councilmember Rawlings is absent, and Mayor Kennas.
Here. Just for the audience information, Councilman Rawlings is back east visiting family. Nice. He'll be there most of the month. Okay, we have no deferred items from previous meetings. Consent calendar, item number 3. Are there any cards?
I have cards from boarding material on 3C, D, and E.
Okay. Come on up, we'll be there.
Thank you. Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor, the Manager. Commenting tonight first on 3C. This is an issue that has come up just recently because the grand jury also evaluated Butte County water. I just left the Water Conservation Committee. And in the agenda there, the grand jury's comments about water conservation and water retention and water storage came up heavily in their comments, and it included a special highlight for the town of Paradise and PID's water supply as not being adequate. So if you just divide the numbers, technically we have a 2-year supply in storage for the amount of water that we use. Any growth in town or significant leaks, which they are working on, reduces that dramatically. Roughly speaking, the administration there describes us as a 1-year drought mode every year. So in that Butte County grand jury report with that kind of emphasis, I do think that the town and members of the council should be involved with PID in urging them to look at ways to resolve that issue. Thank you.
Okay. Any other cards?
And on 3D,
Thank you. Skip the good evening. This is including an element of remapping in the town. In my few short years here, 30 plus something, there are some errors in some of the maps, primarily the ones that you get for free from real estate companies, but I've also noticed it in the AAA magazine a map as well. And I'm just wondering if there's a way to get the people that are looking at remapping to fix some of those things that have been wrong for many, many years. How would we go about that?
This has nothing to do with that kind of mapping. This is Chico State doing they basically, they provide the data for the police department, fire department. and
With updated map books.
Well, but it's not AAA's database, it's the Chico State database.
Okay.
Different thing.
Can we get them to get some of the roads corrected on the maps that are wrong?
I don't know, you have
That's
to
up to AAA.
That's not the same people.
Okay, well, they're wrong
If
in
they're-
all the
if-
maps.
If Chico State is wrong, we can get that fixed.
Okay.
So if you see an error in the data they give us,
Yeah.
then we can certainly get that fixed.
Okay.
Ward, if you
When
have
does
a
it come
list,
out?
if you have a list of stuff that's wrong, submit it to Craig Baker, our planning and development director.
Excellent.
And he'll see that it gets to Chico State, they can verify that the information is correct on our information, so that, because we might as well check and make sure that that's correct. If you have a list, we certainly appreciate that.
Nice. Very good. Sit down and
3E,
Good evening. I see none of the family members here. I'd like to comment on behalf of the donation to the Paradise Animal Shelter from Donna Marie Tibbetts. My neighbor for over 12 years, now deceased for 13 months. It's taken a long, long time to resolve her trust and her will. She was an avid supporter of the animal shelter. She loved her animals, my animals, the neighbor's animals on the other side. She was a very dear person. We were sorry to see her go. It was very sudden that we lost her. It was very difficult for us to find homes for the animals that she had left, except for her 60-year-old bird. Her brother, who is also a member of the Town of Paradise, and I thought would be here tonight, but is not, also wants to acknowledge that this is an important element in the closing of her estate. And thanks to the town for having this adopted as a resolution and getting the money to the animal shelter promptly. She was hoping it would happen in a few months, but it's taken 13 months. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other cards? We'll go ahead and close and bring it back to council.
I'll move approval of the consent calendar as presented.
Second. Okay, moved and seconded.
Motion Wyler, seconded by Bowen. And a roll call vote, Councilmember Bowen,
Aye.
Councilmember Culleton,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Lurie,
Aye.
Councilmember Rawlings is absent, Mayor Titus.
Aye. Okay, we're going to go on to, basically, we're going to go into a public hearing, item 5A. For those who would like to speak, basically, we've got proponents can speak in favor 15 minutes, opponents for 15 minutes, maximum time 3 minutes. Are there any cards?
No cards on the public hearing?
Okay, anyone wanting to speak up to this item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close it and bring it back to council.
Do we need to have any kind of presentation on it, just to say what it?
Well, typically, we have a small staff presentation. We can skip that at the council.
Well, I
We
mean,
can
no,
do that for the
Why don't
public.
you, maybe, Ms. Manager, you can just clarify what we're doing and why this has come back to us and that we're lowering some fees as a
Sure.
result.
As you know, at the recent meeting, that the town council approved some changes to the master fee schedule. We've made some additions, some deletions, and adjustments in many areas to make the fees that we do charge the public, make those cover the cost of the service that is provided. This item is brought back to the council. There's a couple of changes. As the council is aware of, there was a couple of items that we had to do some house cleaning on. One was an error, a note was left off. And the other error was, we found as a result of when our IT guy tried to make some calculations in the computer program, and we couldn't quite do that, so we had to go back and make some changes there. None of these changes will result in an increase. In fact, the opposite, they will actually result in a decrease of some of the fees that we were charging.
Okay, well, with that, I'll move approval of Resolution 1337 relating to amending the master fee schedule.
Second? Second. Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Bowen,
Aye.
Councilmember Culleton,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Lurie,
Aye.
Councilmember Rawlings is absent, and Mayor Titus.
Aye. Okay, item number 6, public communication. This is for things not on the agenda. Is there any cards?
I have a card from Mayor Whitman.
Okay, Dan.
Good evening, Town Council and staff. Dan Wyman. Anything on Dean Road yet, Brian? I think you'd be disappointed if I didn't say something. During the recent heat spell, there was the senior center, and I'm addressing the item on the agenda at our last senior center board meeting. During the extreme heat that we had, there were probably 15, 20 calls received by the senior center, most of them directed by the town to the senior center, which is wonderful. We love it. Thank you very much. But we didn't know how to handle it because we don't have any kind of policy. People were seeking a cooling center, somewhere where they could go sit with the air conditioners on and so on. And they told us, they said that the town said to call the senior center, which again, we appreciate. That's great. But we have a new executive administrator, director, and she was totally new to it, didn't know how to handle it, and when they talked to the board about it here a couple of days ago, the board didn't know how to handle it either because we don't have this occurrence real often. So we would like to see if there's something that we can do with the town, maybe the EOC, something, set some kind of policy criteria. What are the expectations? What can we do? Because we were happy to have people come down there, but we were kind of going, what do we do now? You know, are we supposed to feed them? Or we don't have bathing facilities, obviously, but we do, of course, have food preparation if it was needed. Are people expecting to stay overnight? Should we be expecting them to? What to do?
If we would have opened an EOC or sent people over for a cooling center, we would have contacted, I would have, as the EOC director, would have contacted the senior center personally. I wasn't aware of any calls, actually. In fact, we did check with the fire department, police services, we checked with Butte County Department of Emergency Services, and they hadn't received any calls. So we did not see a need to open an emergency shelter. So I'm not aware of any calls, but in the future, Dan, I think it's a great idea. In fact, maybe we can get your new executive director to be part of our EOC meetings that we hold and maybe have a little better communication now.
But one of the, on that note, it isn't necessarily with that extreme heat, wasn't necessarily anything that would trigger the EOC to open.
Correct.
So, but
No.
we should develop a policy, because I think as the town government, that we should develop some policy on those kinds of things, because other cities did, there were some deaths as a result, not nearby. But so, I mean, it is something that we ought to have some policy when that kind of a thing occurs, without activating the EOC, or we simply, you and Beyond Fitness or
Right.
whoever, we can just say, hey, look at, and we can advertise that,
Mhm.
that there's,
Again, we're not trying to put any
Right.
burden on the council or anything. We want to be able to be the recipient of people like that,
Right.
but we would like to kind of know what to do.
Like some training.
Yeah, we want to
Typically,
know what
I'm
to do.
talking with the John Bilzerian from the Butte County Office of Emergency Services, since they are really the lead for the region. And I checked with him a couple of times, and basically their policy is if there's an extended period of above 100, 110 degree or
I think it's 3 days
170.
at above 110 degrees where it doesn't cool off below.
Whatever it is. I heard it on there.
Unless, of course, there's
Heard it.
other factors in there, such as the power goes out or something, and there's a need to open a cooling center. They were on the verge of opening, but again, they didn't feel the need or have many calls. So it was one of those, it was almost like we're almost, should we do it, should we not do it, and I checked.
but that's my point exactly. Bureaucracy is such that to activate an EOC, there's a cost associated.
Yeah, we
To have just a policy, like when you have adverse conditions come up for the citizenry, where it's a cooperative, collective effort, and there's no real cost associated with that, because you're already open, some of the other places.
That's it.
You know what I mean? It's not, if we can get out of that bureaucracy thing, I get it, like if you got 3 days at 110, blah, blah, blah. Well, without all of that, if you just said, we had a week of hot weather, and
Right. Again, we are anxious to try to have something in place where the seniors can feel comfortable, or anybody can feel comfortable coming to us.
And that's a great idea, because it'll certainly be, I think it's the most appropriate for having the senior center do that, and to be that kind of a resource. Most people will take care of things themselves, because, that's just the nature of what most people do.
With
Those who
neighbors.
can't, between neighbors and churches, and
Right.
the senior center is perfect for your mission
Mhm.
of serving the needs of the seniors. That's a
Right.
perfect thing to do, and I don't see why we couldn't train, at least teach them how to handle it.
What
What else
just-
they want to eat,
just a committee sit down and tell us, we set a couple of guidelines. When I heard on the radio, I heard the same stats, or read it in the paper or something, Scott. I thought, man, people are going to be dying in the streets before that happens. To me, that's ceiling.
Yeah, they set the number
that's-
pretty high.
But again, that's because to activate the EOC,
Right.
that's a
Right.
mechanism that's expensive to do.
Right,
And so
and we
unless
don't
you
need,
have
we don't need
disaster, you
for
don't-
that to.
Well, in reality, for a lot of people, I mean, more likely we need to be able to, whether they call here, the police department, fire department, whatever, the senior center, make some suggestions. And, well, the senior center is open, without you having to extend your hours, open from, whatever, 8 to 5 or whatever. You can go see a free movie on, Tuesday mornings, and it's air conditioned, and you can go, there's various things that people do, when it's certain temperature. I don't know whether the park district used to do free swimming when the temperature hit a certain level. They would let you come use the pool for free, things like that. I mean, there's various places
So
people can go.
did people come?
So people did it. We had probably half a dozen people come, and we got probably 15, 20 calls, I think. And because the executive director was new, and she's kind of going, I don't know, I haven't heard about this. Apparently, significant number of them ended up over the library.
Well, maybe what we can do is just have, maybe some of your people can, Marty or her staff can help you design a policy for the senior
Sure.
center so you guys know what to do. Because really, you have
That's
to
what
train.
kind of we're after.
Yeah,
And-
because that's-
and we
yeah.
welcome the calls, but we would actually like to say,
That's great.
yes, tell them, we freely offer the senior center. If calls come to the town, say, yes, we are available. But then we'd like to know what are our expectations.
Well, again, and I think that's where the training comes in. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And what can you do based on the resources you have? I think it's great that you're being proactive and doing some things on your own, because the town can't do it all. I mean, government cannot be the solution for everybody's problems.
And we understand.
And so so by having the nonprofits, the community, the churches, the senior center and other organizations help fill that gap and be there. And hopefully neighbors take care of neighbors and family and so forth, the way it has always been, it should be.
Right.
But I certainly can see where some training to help you design a policy and give you some ideas to think about.
Yeah, just give us some direction and we just
How often,
open-handed, we're ready.
how often is this needed?
Well, you can use
Very rarely, but the point is that if people, for whatever the reason is, if someone calls the town, or someone calls a senior center and says, I need a place to go, typically the answer is, come on over.
Yeah.
All people need is a cool place to sit and some water,
Right.
and that's all they need for a cooling center. It is not an overnight event, it's usually just a place to sit. There are a few people around that don't have air conditioning. And it really becomes a problem when the power goes out and there's a large amount of people that cannot find a place or friends and family to cool off. So, but typically, yeah, if you have a facility and it's a hot day and it's been hot and someone calls and says, can I sit in your lobby for a few minutes? I'm sure the answer would be, sure, come on in.
Yeah, as a matter
Give
of
them a
fact,
glass of water and that's a cooling center.
yeah, as a matter of fact, at the board that we just had yesterday, we are altering the arrangement of one of our rooms and putting in comfortable chairs and some couches, and so it'll make it easier for that kind of participant.
We'll be over,
Yeah.
we're all upstairs, it's gonna be hot.
It is interesting to note one thing. A number of people that called said that part of the reason, we asked them, do you not have air conditioning? Yes, but we're part of the PG policy where we're not supposed to turn our air ACs on from 10 to 5, the hottest part of the day or whatever. But again, we would like to be able to say, well, come on down. So if there's anything, whatever we can do, would you like Nancy Eaton is our new executive director? Would you
I'll
like
get
her just
together
to
with
call?
Nancy.
Okay.
I'll talk to Nancy, I see her on Thursday, over.
Thank you very much, because we,
Thank you.
senior center is there to serve.
Thank you.
Anything else for? Okay, we'll move on to item number 7. Review and consider the staff recommendation that the town council adopt the following resolutions to approve participation in a countywide Big Tree PACE program to include properties within the incorporated Paradise town limits through a contractual assessment district process. PACE programs allow interested property owners to fund the installation of energy and water efficient improvements through a market rate loan that is repaid on their property tax bill. Participation in the program is completely voluntary.
Thank you. This item will be brought to you by Craig Baker, our Community Development Director.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Good evening, council members. As your mayor's just explained, this item has been put on your agenda for you to consider a couple of resolutions that would establish a property-assessed clean energy program, or rather make Paradise eligible to participate in the PACE program for non-residential properties within Paradise. PACE programs were established by California Assembly Bill 811 and allows cities and counties to offer programs to property owners who are interested in entering into a contractual agreement to finance the installation of energy and water efficient improvements and pay back loans at near market interest rates as an assessment on their tax bill. The program, as I said, is called the Property Assessed Clean Energy PACE Program. They require an AB 811 assessment district to be formed to facilitate the program and are intended for participation by non-residential properties. Property owner participation is strictly voluntary and taxes remain unchanged for properties that do not participate in the PACE program. On March 26, 2013, the Duke County Board of Supervisors adopted the necessary resolutions to make the PACE program available through what's called the California Enterprise Development Authority, or CEDA, which is currently administered by an outfit known as Fig Tree. They are a PACE program third-party administrator. With the adoption of the Butte County resolutions, all local jurisdictions in the county can now participate in the program as well. Our recommendation tonight is that you adopt these two separate resolutions to enable properties within the town of Paradise to participate in the PACE program. The property improvements that are eligible for funding under this program include air sealing and ventilation improvements, high-efficiency heating and air systems, dual-pane windows, insulation, solar systems, and water-efficient fixtures and irrigation systems. Some of the benefits that for property owners with this program include lower energy costs for them, the ability to replace outdated equipment, accessible financing based on property values and market interest rates, no money down, no upfront costs needed, no credit checks since the loans are secured against the property, and low fixed interest rates for long-term financing up to 20 years that stays with the property if it is sold, and increased valuation of improvements on the property. The benefits to the town include stimulation of the economy through job growth, sales tax generated from equipment and supplies purchased locally, reduction in energy and water use locally, and the ability to leverage outside capital for this incentive financing. There is no cost to the town to join CEDA and participate in the PACE program. The program will be administered by Fig Tree, and the county assessor's office will process assessments. Fig Tree will be compensated for their services through administrative fees and a portion of a 3% annual cost recovery fee that will be paid by participating property owners. Therefore, your staff is recommending adoption of both of these resolutions, copies of which are attached to your agenda summary. If adopted, the first resolution would authorize the town manager to execute an associate membership agreement with CEDA, and the second resolution would establish the Assembly Bill 811 Assessment District to include all properties in the town of Paradise and any subsequent annexations. This is a summary of your agenda summary and the program. If you have questions, I think I'm going to be able to answer them. I have collected a fair amount of material on this and become familiar with the program, at least to some degree. But it sounds like a great program.
So people can borrow up to 10% in property value? All right.
There's a kickoff meeting on,
Right, I'm going to be attending a kickoff meeting this Thursday in Chico at 3 o'clock.
Any questions? Ryan, are there any cards? No cards. Anyone want to address this? Seeing none, we'll bring it back, and also, what is your pleasure?
I'll move approval. I'd like to say that I've seen these, they started doing these Southern California, the Bay Area, a number of years ago to kind of stimulate, get people going with solar and stuff. It's a good way of doing it, especially when things are tough. So.
I'll second it. I just hope we have a mechanism to get the information out. I think it's a great opportunity for some of the businesses to use this opportunity. I don't know if we're going to get out, it's not going to happen. So.
Well, I think that the county is going to participate in doing that. Certainly, we can put some information on our website. And when I attend this kickoff meeting Thursday, I suspect that there will be materials that will be distributed to us to
get flyers or something and send them around, walk around, whatever.
and they will get that out on the news. They've been doing a news media blitz here. They will start with their kickoff.
Craig, some communities, I think they did, residential and multifamily properties. Is there a reason they're not? Are they going for the kind of the low-hanging fruit to?
Well, yeah, evidently, these assessments are senior assessment. So lending institutions don't like properties to have a senior assessment ahead of their own, or a senior assessment ahead of their own
Mortgage, yeah.
Right, mortgage. And so there are very few residential properties that would even qualify for it. Generally, they don't participate.
Do you have a second, do we want to do these in particular, or can a motion be made doing the first one and the second at the same time?
You can make one motion to adopt the resolutions.
I'll move we adopt both resolutions as presented in the staff report on the agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded, roll call.
Call vote, Councilmember Bowman,
Aye.
Councilmember Cole,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Lutter,
Aye.
Collins is absent, and Mayor Tucker.
Aye. Okay, item 8, council communication. As far as any committee reports or commission, most of them,
I had a conference call, Sacramento Valley Division, the city's Valley Division yesterday, and we are having our quarterly membership meeting on the 19th in the city of Sacramento. And our evening speaker at dinner, and we sent flyers to everybody and staff, will be the chief actuary from CalPERS, and talking about the increased fees to cities. So, for CalPERS. So, and I've invited some of the staff to come to that. Some of the staff in Reading, other participating cities are coming. So it should be a good time. It's on Friday, the 19th. It's at 3 o'clock, and it's actually at a restaurant in Sacramento. So I think I sent you a flyer.
You're gonna hand out no-dos, actuarial talking about. It's gotta be that's gonna be a snoozer.
No, because what'll happen is he's gonna talk about how the increases are gonna happen.
Well, why don't you ask them why they misrepresented the returns?
Well, we asked him that, they've been there before. Literally, they've been there before, and like at the Employee Relations Committee, they've been there before, him and his underlings, and he's been asked that numerous times. Every time, if nothing else, it'd be entertaining to see some of the people that are going to be getting. Yeah, it'll be fun, so, well, that's the only committee meeting that I think I went to.
All right. Any future agenda items?
Oh, wait a minute, you gonna let me say anything?
Well, I thought you-
I'm sorry. No, I just said, I have LAFCO tomorrow. We moved it because of the holidays, so. Our the free movie program had about 600 people there, including your wife today. It's a very popular there. People are coming to see free movies and staying cool. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Are they eating lots of
We don't meet until
popcorn?
the end of the month, on the 27th.
I don't know.
So BCAG and Air Quality, we meet later. John went last month when we saw it, and that's actually good. Okay. Did you have anything that you wanted?
Future agenda items, yeah, I'd really like to see if the staff would look at the budget and maybe come back to us and put on the August budget some funding for the annual conference in September. If a couple of us have pre-registered, which is a $475 price tag. Anybody that registers now, it's a $525 price tag. So we should at least maybe look at if all 5 of us were to go. It's in Sacramento. Everybody's paying their own housing and all that. So we should look at that. And the reason I want to have that brought back on that agenda would be because with the, one of the things that grand jury report was our lack of sewer and all, and I know that's something that we're working on, focusing on, and the annual conference is the opportunity to find funding and find other jurisdictions to do some networking to help us in that long-term endeavor. So it's a pretty cheap price to get some valuable information and possibly locate some funding.
Well, the benefit also is having, we can go into 5 different seminars at one time, because they do multiple at the same time. So that'll, or if you get back to, thank you. All right, I guess the next item is, unless there's anything else from anyone else. Okay, Laura.
So I have a couple of things. The first thing is that on the 19th at 9 a.m., we will be holding a status update meeting on the Pearson Rec project. We'll involve the stakeholders, the agency, the school board, residents, and of course the general population if they're interested. So we're going to talk about the project and its almost halfway mark, and the contractor will be there, staff will be there, and we'll be able to answer questions and give an update on where we are. And
What is that?
that's on the 19th, next Friday at 9 a.m.
Mark,
Here.
do we have like an artistic rendering of the finished project. You know what I mean? It just shows the lanes and the parking.
We didn't know.
I was in the barber shop today, and do we? I don't know, we went?
I wouldn't call it artistic, but.
Well, no, you know what I mean, something that looks like this
Yeah,
is.
He's an engineer.
Sure, it's
but
actually-
He's not artistic.
Okay, well, the point is, I was in the barber shop to get a haircut, and there's a property owner in there, and it came up, well, what's that gonna look like? And he says, yeah, I can't, is it gonna have a center lane? And so I told him what it's gonna look like, they're all excited, but I just thought if there's a picture of the finished thing, not just of the engineering diagram, we might wanna post it on our webpage. Some people don't know what.
Yeah, we currently have a project information center website on the town's homepage, and it's available on the home, townofparadise.com. And on that, you can download materials, project updates, and a part of those files that we have posted on that site is a picture, sketch, paint.
Is it easy to find? That's what I mean.
Well, I mean, I can email you a link if you need it, but,
Is there a way to have that one kind of show?
Yeah,
up
it's
there?
very nice.
When you go to that
The
link,
whole-
it pop up,
sure.
so you can see the finished project.
Just a thought.
I don't know, I saw it on Facebook, somebody posted today, I think Life in Paradise posted, what it's gonna look like.
Is that what we're talking about?
The information
Okay.
is
So
out there.
that is the one that we brought to the council that just shows the lines on the street, the current street with the lines on it. And it's a pretty good rendering. It's not an artist rendering of what it's really gonna look like, but it does show the center turn.
How
lane,
things are gonna
lanes,
work.
and, yeah, how it's gonna work. It's a pretty
You need
good
to have it.
picture.
All you have to do is think of all of highway, because that's what it is. You know, I didn't realize all was the the center turn, I think, just go on it and traffic moves quick. And it was quite.
Right over to the hospital?
But that is on the town's
It's the same
website.
exact design.
That link is on the town's website, so it's easy to see. And also, the original presentation that Mark gave, the whole PowerPoint is on the website, so it explains why we're doing that. So it's a real good refresher. So there's that, and that will be on the 19th at 9 o'clock here. Also, the admin analyst interviews will be tomorrow and also next Monday. We're going to interview 11 people. And then also, the mayor will be speaking at Rotary this Thursday and giving a state of the town and financial update report to the Rotarians. So that's all I have.
Okay, I guess we'll go into closed session. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1, the town council will hold a closed session to meet with the town attorney related to the following pending litigation, Town of Paradise versus Arthur J. Silverstein, New County Superior Court, case number 159786, and also be pursuant to the same code, except for it's 4. The town council will consider initiating litigation on potential case. We shall return.